Hey, we're back for another season of When Marriage and Purpose Collide.
We share our dating experiences and have our own story that led to marriage.
We are here to inspire and encourage Christian singles who are striving to date with a purpose and have a desire for marriage. As a coach that helps women in their dating season
and guide men in theirs, we will provide you with thought-provoking hot topics that can challenge your thinking and encourage you in your single season.
So take notes and join in on the discussion. We would love to see your input in the conversation. Now on to the episode.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, what's up, y'all? We back, y'all. What's up? We back, and fade.
I like how I want to press the button and go.
Welcome to another episode of When Marriage
and Purpose Collide,
the podcast. And we're back for another episode. Thank y'all for tuning in and staying with us, staying strong through this season, walking with us. How about, I got a question for y'all. Y'all want us to go live one night? Just live, where y'all could join us and be in the conversation, actually interacting with us back and forth on the live. What you think?
Just let us know. I'll be there. Just looking.
What you think about a live? You think we do a live?
Oh yeah, we did live before.
When?
It got a little awkward.
We didn't do it live for the podcast.
What was it for?
Just us on the live. We just did TikTok, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And we did, well, before we actually started the podcast, we were doing lives.
True.
So you're right. We did do lives, but it wasn't this.
I was thinking about that last one where old girl told us about the abuse. And I was like, oh, well, that brought the whole emotional train down. Yeah, you remember she was talking about how her boyfriend was abusive or something like that, so she was leaving a relationship or something like that along those lines. Mm-hmm. It was just like, yeah.
In the TikTok, it was TikTok. It was TikTok. Yeah,
like live. It was like
it was live, and you know how you're reading, and so you're reading it live. Sorry, I just got out of an abusive relationship, and we're reading that, and we're like, whoa, that's kind of deep.
We was reading that in a happy mood,
right?
And
and we're like, ooh, you know what? God saves.
we wasn't ready.
We weren't ready for that.
Nah.
So, and we wasn't trying to be that. We didn't even have a deep.
Didn't matter.
Conversation.
I still appreciate the person commenting and telling us. Hopefully, we helped somehow.
Yeah, hopefully we helped sometime. I know we did.
Anyway, do you want us to go live?
Let us know. But like I said, if you are watching this, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, share with people you know, you love.
Tell your pappy.
Yes. And we're gonna wait and see if we made it to the finals. We don't know. For the best podcast in the KCPC Awards. If we made it, y'all know. If we didn't, y'all know. But we're just happy to just be in the number. We're happy to be in the number. So thank you. A special thank you to those who voted for us. Whether you're in Kansas City or you're not, whether you're international, you click the link and voted for us. We appreciate you. So we thank you for that. But yeah. So what do we normally do around this time?
Confessions.
Yes. And what's the confessions about? What's this confession thing?
Basically, we just bring up something that we feel y'all should know, we should know. And it's unserious, serious, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead with your confession.
Mine is, I actually thought about this recently. Every now and then, my daughter receives what she calls a bag of snacks, and it's a bunch of non-perishable items, canned goods, which we usually never do, except for the part of the SpaghettiOs, and then like oatmeal, basically stuff.
Yeah, just snacks and canned goods, and
Well, the issue I have with it's not the stuff that's in it; it's where they put it, and they keep throwing it in her backpack, and she's all of 35 to 36 pounds. Like that's a lot. It's 1 pound off. Anyway,
35 to 36 pounds.
And her backpack has got to be a clear 40. and they're just like, up, throw it on your back, get on the bus. It's like, come on, man. Yeah. And it bothered me last time, and I actually forgot to. I forgot to mention. Yeah. Well, I told you, but I forgot to bring it up to the school. But today, like as of this date, or maybe whenever you see it. Anyway, yeah, she cried about it, and that made me very upset. So I'm going to say something to school. I don't even care if it's her last day or not.
Well, yeah, I was saying that because school's about to end. And so, but no, yeah, I think it should be. I think we should say something. Yeah, because there's no way that you should put all that. And the thing is, I do get she is smaller than most of the children.
No, even if she's smaller, no.
What, you didn't let me finish.
I'm sorry.
So I'm thinking that there's other kids who are probably getting the bags and they're bigger than her, so they just doing the rounds like oop, oop, doop, 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 and not tripping. That listen. You can't be doing that. Like, are they not observant?
No, whoever's doing it, they obviously don't care. They're just like, here, kid.
Yeah.
You want this? Put in your backpack.
And she's so nice too. She doesn't say no. She don't say anything to where that hurts, or she'll just cry.
Yeah.
And so that is our way.
Let's just say the bus driver was mad.
Yeah, the bus driver was mad too.
She was like, we need to. Like she part of them. We need to do something about this. I'm like, I'm with you.
Bus driver, she
said something to the teacher, and it wasn't even the right teacher to talk to. She's like, who keeps doing this? I was like, hey, I'm with you on that. I'm about to go up there. I can't raise no.
No, I said it's different ways we could do. It's just you call all the things.
I ain't going. I'm going.
Okay, go. I'm just saying, there's different ways to go about it. Gosh, Lee.
I want them to see me.
Okay.
Well, you look like Dylan.
You gonna go on Monday?
I'll go on Monday.
Okay.
I got nothing else to do.
All right.
Except for nothing. Anyway.
That's your confession. So my confession is that I forgot how to say it. Is y'all, I do miss R&B music. Like I do miss it. And I remember, I forgot what I was listening to, watching. I think I was just watching like a TikTok, and it was going through 90s R&B and snippets of the different songs. Why are you laughing, first off?
I already know. That's why. Go ahead.
Oh, just snippets of the different songs that I grew up to. And so it just don't sound like that no more. R&B does not sound the same. What you want? Tell me what you. That's what you just did.
I know.
Okay, you were supposed to keep doing it so I could have did it with you. Tell me it ain't good enough for you, babe. Tell me. Okay. Anyway, so the confession I have is it says R&B music fell off. This is one of the things it says that I found a meme for. R&B music fell off because men don't grab the air no more. Because men don't grab the air no more, and so. Yeah, as you can see, I don't see that no more. Men don't grab air no more. First of all, men don't sing the same way anymore.
Nah, they grabbing air, but ain't the way they used to.
I'm just saying, it just don't sound. And so it's just always auto-tune. They always got to rap. So, babe, recently I've been on social media, and as I'm scrolling, I'm seeing a lot of people who are struggling in their relationships. And the main thing is communicating. Like they don't know how to communicate. What do you say about that? What you thinking?
I know a lot of it is mostly geared towards the men and with the lack of communication. And how like, they can't hold one or something like that, or they're not capable.
Yeah. And I think it's just a learning thing. Like when you get together, there needs to be tools and resources that you can have to help navigate that journey.
Yeah.
With communicating.
Some kind of structure.
Yeah, some kind of structure, something that you can go to often and then make your own.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where we come into play.
Oh, yeah. We got something for you.
Yeah, we got something called the Communication Game Changer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a guide that can help you in the season wherever you are, whether you are dating exclusively, you're engaged, or married.
Even single.
I mean, yeah, even if you're single, you can learn, and it's basically a structured question that you can start asking your spouse or significant other.
Yeah.
And I think it can help those who are out there, and it's really a starting point. It's not the ending point. So if you need therapy, go to therapy. But this is a great start.
Definitely a great start, especially y'all having arguments and nobody's listening to each other. We got some,
and we definitely use this. We use this structure. Have been using it for a long time now in our marriage, and it's helped us greatly. So
we just want to share it with you.
We just want to share it with you. So go ahead and click the link in the description to get your copy of the Communication Game Changer. All right, singing and rapping, auto tuning and singing.
I've always disliked the start of that era of when we had to add a rapper to our R&B song.
Yeah.
There's usually no such thing as a pure just singing song. It's like we have to have somebody rapping on it.
And it was usually sometimes the same rapper in a lot of the
Lil Wayne was on it. I was like,
Lil Wayne. I'm trying to think even back was Ja Rule was in songs.
It was well, I'll put this. It was cool at first because it was different. But then they started doing it all the time.
They started doing it all the time. And then they'll remix it, the song, and have the rap version, and then there's the regular version. And so you can never win.
I'm starting to feel like we're running out of ways to sing. So now they're just sampling everything.
Wait, running out of ways to sing? Like what you mean?
Like basically everything is sampled now.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like
nothing.
It's come from a previous song from way back.
Yeah, like nothing's really like purely creative. Now there's every now and then
there'll be pockets of somebody.
But it ain't used to where it used to be just like
back to back.
And
no more groups. There's not a lot of male R&B groups.
No.
I mean, I don't even know if there's a lot of women R&B groups. No. I can't even think of one right now. Like, where'd they go? What happened?
It's not a thing.
And then it went over to other countries.
Oh, that's been a thing.
I mean, it's been a thing, but now with the K-pops, that's the thing now. I think for because teenage years was when the boy groups and the boy bands, girl bands were out. And I don't think this generation knows about. They don't have that girl band, boy band.
They do, but
who is it? What you talking about?
That's the thing. It ain't for us.
No, but I'm saying like there actually are teen boy bands, black R&B. I mean,
oh no,
that's what I'm saying. Like R&B or even pop.
No,
like even we had the what's the white
No, they don't have that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm about to say
I know
the long hair kids.
The Hansons. It's like I'll call them the Hansons. That's something else. But
they don't have anyway. So my point is that I miss it. Okay. I miss the guys standing in the rain and the rain falling on them, dancing in the rain. Those were the days.
I don't know. You gotta be careful with that because if you go back and listen to the lyrics, you be like, hold on now.
Some stuff is we did find out that a lot of songs had toxic. So that's another thing.
Not even that. Like you started hearing the lyrics and it's like, wait, you talking about little girls?
Oh, true.
I'm not talking about R. Kelly. Like some of the stuff is like
it went too far. Yeah.
But when it first came out, hearing it, we didn't recognize that.
You don't recognize
it. It's like, oh, this sounds good. Then dancing to it, and it's in the club everywhere. I've never been in a club, but I just know it was in the clubs. But now when we hear it,
it's like you slow it down. You just in the car by yourself. You're like, oh, let me turn it up. And then you're like,
I'm going to have to find one of them songs and let you listen to it.
You're like, this doesn't sound.
There's a guy on TikTok. He usually plays back songs.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear the lyrics and it was like, yeah, that's questionable.
Yeah. So that's my confession. So thank you all for hearing.
Robin Thicke came back. He on a remix. Somebody said he was singing his butt off. I heard it.
He was on tour. That's probably how he came back. They brought him on tour, and then he released a song.
He's like, I need some money.
Some album.
He said, I need some money.
So
see my butt off.
What we're trying to say is, boy bands, come back.
No.
R&B.
R&B, yes.
R&B,
boy bands, they can say where they
boy band, come back. Or woman group.
R&B ain't the same no more.
So that's my confession. All right. So we got an interesting topic today. Y'all clicked and y'all ready to watch. So I know y'all ready to hear what we got to say about it. And the topic was actually brought up by somebody else. She was like, hey, what do you feel? Have y'all had an episode about couples attending different churches, and even to the point of married couples attending different churches? And so this is going to be like a conversation wrapped around couples in church.
I was like,
I don't know what to say.
I was like, you gonna say something profound? What's
I
happening?
was trying to, and it didn't come out.
Yeah.
Just couples in church. And so from dating to marriage to even like if your significant other, y'all in church, and men in community and things like that. So we'll see how far we're going to try to make sure.
Relationships in church, in other words.
Relationships in church. All right. So I know that it's just hard to date within the church. I know that there's some perceptions of dating within your own church. And even dating, it's a perception of just available men that love Jesus in the church. There's a perception of women and like men even trying to find, you say, you got to go to church to find your husband, to find your wife. And some men don't want to find their wife in their church, so it's a lot of things happening. And I remember there was a time when I remember hearing out there, in order to find your spouse, you got to go to church. That was back in the day. It was like, that was what was told to people. You won't have nobody, we'll go to church, kind of thing. So, but nowadays you can't tell anybody that.
Yeah. It's, I heard some things actually recently that somebody made a comment. There was a man made a comment about women in church. And of course, there's only one man that said this, and this what they call it, kind of red pill thinking. Yeah, if that's the word for it, where they feel that a lot of the women in church basically been through so many relationships that they come into God now to heal. And
wow,
yeah, that's what he was saying. I was just like, bro,
not been through so many relationships, they finally just go to church.
But the thing is, my thinking of church is it's a hospital for the sick. We're all there to heal. So if you thinking you perfect, you're in the wrong place. Yeah, because everybody's there to heal. Everybody's there to get closer to God. No matter what the issue is, what the problem is, everybody's there to heal. So of course it's going to be people there with issues and everything like that. So him saying that, one, you automatically like Xing yourself out from any kind of relationship in the church because of that thinking. Now, it could be true for some because of the experiences of people had, but it also could be true for the person that said it too. Because obviously you've been through so much where you have to sit there and think that, like, you've been through some pain and maybe got hurt or something like that. Now you automatically think all the women are like that.
Yeah, it's coming from a sense of trauma. It's coming from a lot of things that to even come up with a statement like that.
I mean, he was.
If he even come up with a statement like that,
10 toes down on his statement.
Also, when I think about people who even say things like that, well, really, are you a true believer? No. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like, okay, I'll put it. He's conflicted. There we go.
Conflicted. Yeah. So and it could just be him, which a lot of people do, is just talk and speak their own opinion. When sometimes let that just stay between you. Everything don't need to be said. So
the newest trend is like you can't just give everybody a mic.
Well, it's the whole Shay room concept that now I could just come out and say anything I want to about you, let it all out, air it all out. So it's like, let's do it now. So it's become more comfortable. We didn't went on another tangent. Okay. So, so I heard on something I was watching that a guy, he was saying that he will not date someone from his own church. So just imagine right there, first off, there's available women at your church, but yet he's not willing to date at his own church. So I'm thinking about I believe he's not the only one that's thinking that. So why would someone not want to date women or men in their own church?
So it's kind of like the same rule that I've had for a while is not dating or trying to get with anybody within the same area that I'm gonna be in all the time. For me, it started with school, that led into work, and most likely led into church too, where it's like the same where you don't sleep where you eat or eat where you sleep, that kind of thing. The reasoning to that is because it comes with a lot of drama, especially things go wrong, a lot of people in your business, especially where she got her friends and you got your people, and everybody knows everybody. So it's kind of like in a way, you kind of like forced to be in people's sight in the work. Like, even if you're trying to keep everything private, everybody has their own perception, or should I say, of what your relationship is when it's not. So if things go bad and everybody chooses a side, now it's like, who's the bad guy?
Yeah.
And it's usually men. And that's why a lot of men.
Is it? Is it
seen as the bad guy? Yes. Majority of the time, it's going to be the man that's seen as the bad guy.
You mean because they've been floating around with women? Like, why would they be the bad guy?
Well, for example, like me, I'm gonna give my school example. I came to school. She gave me a note and started crying. I didn't even get to read the note yet.
I see what you mean.
But she started crying.
Like, what'd you do?
And everybody was on her side, and I did nothing. All I did was just show up to school.
Yeah.
Literally, like, the issue was what she did, and she felt guilty and ran away crying. But everybody saw just the crying part and her running away and automatically assumed I did something. Like, it got so bad to where the counselor called me in thinking I did something to her. And I was like, I did not touch it. I still ain't got the written note yet, and that's how bad it got. Like, and just to think, that was just like middle school. Now, if we bring that church setting, it's the same. Same thing is where you see her crying or her upset, everybody's going to be on her side and not the man's side. Not saying that it's always going to be
his fault or her fault.
Yeah. But it's always going to be seen that way, where it's like, okay, what you do to her? Why is she upset?
And then that's in the Euro. They both go to the same church.
And they both go to the same church.
Might have the same groups or communities and different things like that.
And it depends on the level of leadership or whatever you're in.
Oh, true. And so that's another thing.
Yeah. So if, say, you're in the band or
is it called a band?
No, I was going to say choir.
What is it called? Praise and worship team, or the drummer.
Basically, you're just, if you're more in the spotlight at church.
Yeah, there you go.
It's going to be a heavier burden, repercussions out of that, even if it's your fault or not. And men are, like I said, men are usually seen as the perpetrator in those situations, and perpetrator makes it seem like it's
in a lot of things, and a lot of times both aren't held accountable.
No.
So whatever happened is brushed under the rug. And some do continue to stay at the same church if they break up, but nobody talks cases that nobody talks to anybody. So they just try to go their separate ways.
Yeah.
But how can you go separate ways when you're in the church? And so it's like, to me, it seems like there's a lack of accountability that's had, or lack of accountability that the couple receives, especially if they are in the spotlight. Like, if you're in the spotlight, that's a whole nother way you should operate in a relationship. Honestly, you shouldn't even be, this is a hard statement, you shouldn't even be seen like in a relationship with that person.
Yeah.
Until it's actually serious.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be even seen dating, in the corner, not in the corner talking, but like actually visibly seeing somebody date, versus just when y'all official, that means marriage minded and y'all already almost down the aisle, because it's too much.
Actually, I didn't even talk about the other side of that.
Yeah.
The repercussions, I'm talking from man's side, but the repercussions of those kind of situations, even if it's a good or bad to try to date again within the church.
Ugh,
Because,
that is
because now it's seen as a problem.
Yep.
Especially if you say like 3 months later, oh, you find somebody else. Now it's an issue. Oh, that was fast. Oh, it's like it's 3 months later. Like,
Yes.
and this person is actually helping me, or well, it doesn't look good either way.
The perception doesn't look good.
And
if women find out, which we will, because we talk, we'll find out that this dude has been talking to her and talking to her, talking to her. And we found out, I remember found out in church, wait a minute, he talked to you too.
Oh yeah, it's a wrap.
It was, oh wait, no, he talked to you too. All of us are in the room. Like, it can happen. And it was at the point in time at that church that I had to talk to the pastor at that church. And he was like, I'll handle it.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing is that usually leads to either church hurt or for the other person to leave the church because of that, because it's like, it's too much pressure and drama with it, where it's just like, I just want to leave this alone, but people keep bringing it up.
Yep.
And I can't seem to, like, even if I'm okay with dating in church, now I can't. So now I have to go to another church.
And breakups in the church are hard to witness.
Unless you're in the audience.
It's a cringe for our point of view to see a breakup happen. And I'm trying to be gentle here, because if some of you have broken up, I know that's hard to deal with. And I know it's uneasy, and you might have went through a breakup. And I know healing still has to happen. So please, I'm trying to be gentle around this topic. But for our end of it, seeing you all break up, it's like, especially if we saw y'all together for so long, we saw y'all get engaged in the church, we saw y'all are proposed in the church, we see all of that, and then to hear that you all break, which is, I mean, that God intervened and said, listen, this can't happen. Like, we see what didn't happen, and that was okay, because that saved y'all from a divorce later on. But it was just like, it's a little cringe. It's hard to witness because
it depends, because I've seen there is a way to do it, but you have to be one very strong minded, and unpetty, not petty, but
unpetty.
The best way I've seen to get around all that is just to be hush. Like, sooner or later somebody's gonna find out that you broke up. I mean, that's
feel
gonna
like
happen.
You should put, when you said hush, feel like you should put the Pastor Keon.
Send that. You got to send that to me. I'll put that in
there.
Hush. Basically, don't air out each other. Don't do it, like, just like separate. Do your own thing, and don't say nothing to nobody. That's the best way to do it. So then, when people find out you're doing, like, hold on, I thought you was with such and such. Oh no, it didn't work out. And then it gets out that way. It's easier for y'all, because it's like, okay, we moved on. But thing is, this reason why I say is you have to be strong-willed with it. Everybody's gonna start asking questions. Don't tell them nothing other than it didn't work out.
And the people shouldn't be all up in the business anyway.
People's gonna be in your business
because I know I wanted to ask questions, but I knew not to ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just, what?
Older folks, they don't care.
True.
What happened?
So y'all ain't together no more. What happened? Yeah, they would be like,
didn't work out. That's it.
So the next one is, if someone starts dating and they're going to different churches, right?
Yeah.
Should they try to go to the same church while dating?
They should probably visit. Kind of like, it's like you're trying out each other's churches.
Yeah.
Maybe you can see what kind of personality they have within the church. What they do within the church, because you also want to see if they're telling the truth about things too. Like, oh yeah, I'm such and such pastor's assistant or something like that. And you find out that they're parking lot person. It's like,
wait a minute, hold on
now. Are you lying about the position at church that's free?
Exactly.
You ain't getting paid.
And I mean, honestly, it helps to see how that person is getting fed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you'll be able to go to that church service and hear from the pastor, and then you'll be like, hold up, I don't know if that's correct. Like, I don't know. I think the pastor need to check his Bible.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
good.
And so you're like, but your person is sitting under that leadership, and they're like, yeah, my pastor is. Every Sunday he be bringing that word, and be like, he be bringing the word all way.
He be bringing the word,
his word,
and then he brought out the chicken. Like, what's happening out here?
You know, so
sacrifice,
or just seeing how that person navigates inside of their church.
Yeah,
you know, do they talk to other people? Do they not? Are they standoffish? You know, what? Just seeing how they do things. You know. Oh wait, I won't get into that yet.
I was also going to say, if they, I mean, that's usually like the small nitpick things where you find out that their church is more of the dress up church and your church is more laid back. Like,
oh goodness, that's
not really a big. That's nitpick. That's not a big
preference.
Thing.
Those are preferences. Yeah.
But when you see more of how they act in church and how they do things in church and how they respond, and you know, is it the same way you know them outside of that?
Then that's the thing. But yeah, so I believe that you don't have to go to the same church while dating, especially when you're dating, because that means you make a commitment already.
Unless you're really, really serious and y'all make that decision, then yes, but it's not really a necessity.
Yeah, I don't see it as a necessity. So yeah, so I think it would be good to talk about like when it's time for marriage, you know, kind of thing. How should couples, they attend different churches. How should they go about deciding whose church?
During that dating stage, she should have been testing out whose church they feel is something they can grow in. Especially when they start getting more serious, when they get to that point to where like, okay, you know, I don't feel comfortable with us going to two different churches. You know, I want us to be having a church home together. Especially if you know you're going to be together for a long time. Then you could try to like, okay, I'll go to your church and see how that works, or I'll try your church. Now, it also depends where your anchor is. And what I mean by that is, like, are you involved with the services, like, you know, in leadership, or are you like one of the people like that has a lot of family at that church?
True. That does make a difference.
Right.
There's a lot of, I grew up in this church. I've been here since I was born.
Which that's,
you know,
it's difficult to part from, but I always think about how we're supposed to basically depart from
leave and cleave.
But that's for the married part.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But
I mean, they're about to be married.
Yeah. So that also includes church home too. Like, you don't have to be at your parents' church because they go there. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy because you don't have to fight your parents. Especially if your parents are in leadership.
If they feel you need some are like, okay, cool, you still in church.
Yeah.
By all means.
Nah, this is a whole different level and discussion when it comes to pastors' kids, because
that's a
what if it's the hand down kind of thing?
That's what I'm saying. The man, if it's, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, but man or woman, they want them to be in leadership, or they groom them to be in leadership.
Yeah.
And so now you're saying, wait, you leaving? You're going where? You know, I taught you. This is you supposed to take over the church.
Yeah, that's a hard thing, because it's like either your plan is to get your own church, and I've seen that happen to where they get their own church, and they're kind of like the sisters or satellite church, and then the kid is now a pastor of that church, and everything works out there. Or it's like, I'm just going to detach all the way and just build my own church that has nothing to do with your church, because I don't like how my parents are doing things. There's a lot of issues, whatever it is. It's difficult.
It's just difficult. But it's a decision that can be made. Y'all can work it out.
Yeah,
y'all can work it out, and that's why we say it. If y'all already on the road to being married, that means that premarital classes have already probably been thought about. This is where you discuss it. This is where you don't shy away from the topic, and you talk about this. The church is a huge part of a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's not just church if you're doing it properly. Okay. Because y'all could just go into a building and come right back out.
Yeah.
But what you do in that building, right? How you serve, how you grow, how you help in ministry.
No, go ahead.
in the building is is what you should focus on. So I think if y'all don't talk about it and y'all wait to get married to actually come to a conclusion, y'all gonna stay in separate churches for a little bit, or for a long bit, because y'all still haven't figured out how to compromise that. And I do believe that God has called us to go to the same church.
And it don't have to be, and I think I said earlier, it don't have to be to where like, oh, you have to come to my church or I have to go to your church. It could be where y'all just decide, you know, we're just gonna find a separate from both of those church homes that we're both comfortable with.
That we're both comfortable with. And I think that can happen.
Yeah.
I think we're so stuck on like we have to go to one another's churches when in essence it's still a great pull away. It's still hard to pull away from, but I think to make it simple.
Church shop.
Like just thinking I go to one church, I come home, you go to another church, come home. Now y'all both got, okay, how was your sermon? Okay, how was your sermon? Well, my pastor said this, or my pastor said this. But what's your pastor think about this? Was it? It's just it could be a lot of differences there. It could be a lot that goes on. Okay, so but I want to get into like our story. Like, how did we were going to two different churches.
We were.
Okay, and how did we decide?
It's kind of like like I said, the anchor part. Because of where I was at with my church, I think that's why we chose.
Where was you at with your church?
I was beginning to lead in a position where I didn't know I was ready for, but I guess God was like, "Hey, you going?" So just because of that alone, I think what kind of like led to you coming with me to my church.
True. I think that was the major pull.
That was a major pull, but the other pull under that was my father. So that was the other thing too. It's like, okay, I did have family here, and I have that. Which in my head, I was like, well, I could leave anytime. Right. But it was difficult to do that, especially it wasn't something where I could just, oh, I'm used to this. No, this was something I was learning. So it's kind of like me going through school, but it was like this was crash course. I'm learning to be a leader,
right?
And she was more like, I don't want to leave my church, and we discussed it. It was like I understand, and I was very open to going somewhere else, but I was just like, I want to see where this goes first, and then we can, do that. Go shopping and then looking somewhere else,
because we were open to going around shopping. I think we were at the point, but then also we also got married 6 months after we were engaged, so it wasn't like how people do years and 2 years where we could have took the time to do that. It was actually like, okay, we've got to make a decision because time is up. So for me, I realized I reached a point in the church I was at to where I didn't no longer like I took a step back from a lot of ministries. I was doing a lot in the church, and at that point I was at a point to where I stopped serving, not for anything bad, just to take a break, just to really kind of mental break all the things. And it felt good just to be a member of the church and not have to be pulled anywhere other than serving here and there, like going to different events and serving or being the backup for something, but not like having to run a class. That was just a lot on my plate. And so I was like, well, actually at this time, it's actually good timing. It wasn't where I was leading a ministry where if I left, somebody had to fill in for me. It was actually good timing. And I reached a point to where I was like, I can grow elsewhere. And I also the church that you were going to wasn't like horrible. It wasn't like I couldn't go, like, I don't understand. Like it was uncomfortable, but it was also where I could still see myself being comfort. And then your dad was going. So it was easy for me, So
I would say there were some nitpicks, but that was neither here nor there. For me, it was more about the serving.
Yeah. So I think that is how we were able to, and we talked about it, and we took premarital classes at your church.
Oh, I'm glad we went to my church.
And I think we were at one point we were thinking about mine. I believe.
Yeah, we did.
But I think because we decided I don't know how we decided to go. I don't know. I don't know how we decided to go to premarital counseling at versus.
Well, because
because of the wedding.
Yeah, because of the wedding, and
okay.
It was offered. It was all within the package.
It was.
And I would say that was awesome because
it wasn't the package.
I know it's off topic, but it's still on topic.
We can talk about the wedding specifically.
Like it was great. I'll say the price of it alone for that big of a space was like that was a blessing within itself because people pay like 20,000, 30,000 for that. Maybe even 50,000.
When? Who are you talking about?
I'm saying if you was to
for something like that,
for something
space
that
like that.
grand,
yeah. I was like, who are you talking about? Yes, it's like a concert.
Right.
That's what people come. Actually, people do concerts there.
Look, I'll tell you. Basically, it was almost a mega church.
Yeah.
And they just built the building, and we was like either the first or second people to have a wedding at that. And so they was brand new to having people in there. So they were just like, this much? It's like, sure.
Yep.
And like I said, for that space and how much room we could have used, like we didn't even have that many people. It was huge.
Yeah.
So to have that and then not pay for that amount was awesome by itself. So I would say that was the blessing out of all that. Yeah,
and I think because it was a part of the package, and so that's why it was like why go. And then we knew we were going to go to the church together.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think we were able to talk about it, discuss it, and roll with the punches. So let's talk about marriage. And so there's a lot of people. Not a lot of people. I shouldn't say that. I don't know a lot of people.
There's a lot of people.
I know, right?
Oh my God, it's a pandemic.
Right. I know a couple of where they were married. They got married, and they still attended different churches.
Yeah.
And I asked her, and she said it's fine. We're fine. And I was like, okay, well and I remember our friend group talked about it, and I was like, I don't see myself doing that, but it looks like it's working well. They still together and everything. Yeah. Kind of deal. So, but yeah, what's the pros and cons?
So I would say there are relationships that will still thrive even if they go to separate churches. I mean, that's just how some relationships work. And it not just like church period, but like some people are fine as long as they communicate with being together but separate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I know a few people who they live in the same house, but they have their own bedrooms. That's basically kind of like how the church is set up.
True.
Where they live in the same house, but they have two different churches. And the reason why is like there's a lot of nitpicking where it's like there's a lot of stuff I don't like about your church, and there's a lot of stuff I don't like about this church. But because of how where my anchor is at this church and where yours is, we'll compromise and just do that. And we might bring the word, we might still pray together, we might still visit small groups together. But when it comes to where we get our
groups, I didn't think about that. That's another part.
Right. So they might do a lot of things together that's outside of church, but when it comes to getting the word and how they want to hear it,
that's the part.
And how they want to serve, especially they don't feel like they want to start over or be under something where they don't feel like, oh, that's why I'm not needed. Some people are really like, say their church is doing like community service stuff and they're ahead of that or something. It's just like there's something there where they feel like they really are needed.
I like the way you said they want to hear the word the way they want to hear it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's another piece
that is
in there because it's like, I don't like the way he bring the word. Like, or it was like, I was listening to the podcast the other night and he was like, I don't go to church because I don't like the way it doesn't seem practical for men. You know, that's what he said. He said, I don't go because it seems like, and then the other person on there was saying how a lot of churches do appeal to the emotions of women only. So they gravitate, it's a lot of women in the church. They gravitate more so to the women and pull on the emotional triggers, leaving the man behind, you know? So just imagine if you're a couple and you go to a church who the man is just practical. He gave you logical steps of how to lead and do all the things, speak to you, speak life to you. And then you go to another church and it's like, I don't feel that.
Yeah.
You go to your spouse's church or whatever and say, I don't feel that. Like, that's going to be hard.
That's like one church, they do tongues, and other churches against tongues.
That's denominations is a whole nother Kojic.
Mm-hmm.
So you Kojic in the denomination or Pentecostal, and then you
that's a
you run around the church, and I can't run around in your church.
What's the best way to say it? The way they practice religion in the church is also another way to create a divide too.
Yeah, it's a create a divide. And so that's some cons right there. Like you mentioned some pros though, about how you still could come together, you still love each other, you still do all the things. So I like that. I was looking up some of just to be forward to prepare for this, about 3 common reasons couples attend different churches. And one is, I think we kind of touched on this, but they don't believe like you.
Yes.
So it could be where you married somebody who's lukewarm and you are the more stronger in the faith, maybe, or the one that was leading all the time, whether you're a man or a woman. And so now they're going to that church because they're comfortable. They are able to be in the background. They're okay. They're not convicted. They're just sitting there. And then you, on the other hand, you have to go to this church because if you don't go, you feel like you're gonna fall, like kind of deal, or not be held accountable. Yeah.
Bed church,
Bedside Baptist.
Yeah. Bedside Baptist.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that too. Yeah. But yeah, they pick and choose when they want to go to church.
Yep.
Kind of deal. But they still go. They still a member, but you every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, you small group, and they just
big time church where you got every day's got a church involved something.
And then they over here, so you might view each other differently, which is then causing a divide between y'all. So that's one thing. The other one is rebellion, and there's one. I think the one part of rebellion is maybe y'all were going to the same church for a while. But then something happened within your relationship. And now because of resentment or whatever may have happened, you like, I'm gonna go to this church. I don't want to deal with you. So and because when you pray together and when we do this and when you're able to bring intimacy spiritually, that brings y'all together.
Yeah.
So imagine if you divide that, you don't talk about it, you don't do anything spiritually, and you just separate.
There's effect to that, especially if you have kids. Your kids see this. Like I always hear the kid part of it, especially growing up, where it's like, okay, my mom's very, for some reason it's usually this way too. My mom's very religious, but my dad just stays at home. He just goes to work, stays at home, don't do none of that. She does all the praying and stuff, and he don't want to hear none of it. Yeah. Or either that he's Christian too, but you never really see him do any of that.
Yeah.
Where the mom always has her Bible. She's always praying for people, always doing this. Everybody sees her as the healer of the family. And he's more like, I'm here.
I'm here. Right. Right. And you can see it.
Yeah. And that usually affects the kids because the kids are like, well, I can't talk to dad, but mom's always forgiving.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's something about a man's leadership.
Yeah.
To be able to say, or to be able to make that change, to be able to start prayer, to be able to do that versus when we do it. It's just something different about it. And that's why God put leaders in the Bible that were men. It's just plain and simple. We need men to stand up and lead.
Yeah.
When it comes to things like that. The other part of it was like, maybe your person goes to a church and like we mentioned, you don't agree with what the pastor is saying, or maybe that the leadership or the pastor has gotten a scandal. There's so many, of course, we've been seeing over the past few years, of course, or it's a scandal, or maybe they are being called out all the time by some reviewer on YouTube constantly, every single video they got.
We already talking about.
Sorry. But anyway, and it's like, I'm loyal to my church. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if they did this, they did that. I support them. And then your significant other is like, whoa, pump the brakes. you know, and so they want to leave and dip and go to another church.
Yeah. Well, something like that is usually like, of course, there's church hurt created out of it. And then there's also forgiveness. So you have one partner who will forgive more than the other partner would.
Yeah.
So it's like, say there's a scandal or something like that, a situation where it's like the church is basically falling apart. And this is where you usually see the divide in people. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna forgive pastor. I'm gonna keep it going, you know, with this church, even with the scandal and everything. Like I will forgive. I won't forget, but I'll forgive. Like I'm not with the scandal, but because of how Jesus is and everything, like I'm going to forgive and then try to, you know, continue on. Where the other person's like, nope, I'm done. Let's go somewhere else.
I ain't about to do that. And you never know, that person has probably experienced trauma in that area, and you bringing it back up saying you okay with it, and they just got healed over it. Or maybe y'all were dealing with the same type of issue that the scandal's happening with, and you gonna stay. So basically, you agreeing with the pastor, and you had the same. Like, it's so much going on there, and so it's like that cause. That's even deeper than what we. That's even almost probably grounds for divorce and a little.
Some of them
that stuff that comes up. But
my thing is where's the line drawn in that, where it's either too much forgiveness or too much resentment out of that, or too much anger, if you want to put it that way, to where it doesn't affect your relationship, because now you're letting outside, because even church can be seen as an outside influence on what your marriage should be.
And it
so it's like, where do you draw the line to protect yourselves, even with a disagreement, because you're two different people with two different minds. Of course you were going to be one, but you're still going to have different outlooks on what situations are. And it shouldn't go to the point to where, okay, I can't be with you no more because of this. Although it depends on what it is.
Depends on what it is.
If like our pastor murdered somebody, I forgive him. Hey, well, I don't know about it. I don't know about that.
Right.
Then I'm like, okay, you might be a little psychopath. Let me go ahead and get away from you. But if it's more like, you know, the pastor maybe, you know, which we're seeing, pastor cheating on his wife or something like that, and she forgave him, and like they're healing in their relationship. Now y'all having the discussion like, oh, I forgive too, because you know,
and that's the part right there is, are they in the middle of it or have they overcame it? So you right smack that in the middle, and then you hearing that it's a lie, and then they're saying no, it's not like, when it causes confusion, that's what the enemy does, to just confuse. That says a lot also about the leadership of the church, and a lot about, even if you're that loyal, more than likely you're probably in the leadership of the church too.
But I mean, there's levels to it. So if it, like I seen the video, the one where the baby mama was there and causing all kind of ruckus. And stuff. Now, if it becomes a circus where you got police involved and all this other stuff, then I think both of y'all should decide it.
And then they're not even handling it right biblically.
No,
that's the first and foremost.
That's the part.
The pastor doesn't even come back and handle anything the right way, the proper way.
No,
right. And so they just totally just take it and So if it's not done biblically, that should tell you right there. Automatically, this is not the church that you should attend.
And I think that's how the couple, whoever's, you know, wherever side, it should be handled biblically with y'all. So it's like, okay, we're arguing about this. What does God say? What does God say?
What do we pray?
What's the word say?
Let's pray about this and see what it actually says.
Even if you're in disagreement, it's like, okay, what's the word say about this?
God revealed to us what it says so that we'll be able to make the right decision together. I know he wants to go. I know I want to stay. So in order for us to heal our relationship, like, some got to happen. Captain. So, I think we touched on that. I mean, there's so much more to talk about that.
So much.
But hopefully that helped some of you all that were in that, or that are in cases like that, or have been in cases are thinking about dating.
Or it's actually happening right now.
It's actually happening right now. This is some things to think about before y'all actually dive in. So the last thing we're going to touch, and then we'll be on our way, is
okay. Go ahead. I felt automatically thought like, all right, we're just gonna get in the car and leave.
I know, right? Is what if your significant other, someone you're dating, only attends online church? You attend in person, they only go online, and that's what they prefer. What happens now? And my thing is, first off, like, why would someone only attend online church and not be open to doing in-person services?
So of course there's going to be multiple reasons and choices. I think one of the main ones is because of people got comfortable after COVID, actually during COVID, where it's like, man, what's the point of going to church? Like, I could watch it here and still do stuff. So
especially
there's that.
If you got quality church, I can see if your church quality on the online.
Not right. Yeah. Like, I have to deal with traffic.
These churches, y'all just spend money on production, and so of course I'm staying home.
Especially if it's entertaining. Oh, yeah.
And the praise and worship team is on point.
Yeah.
What?
But there's also the other reason to that too, where it's like, okay, I've tried different churches, especially in my area, and a lot of these churches don't fit for what I'm looking for, and the church I did find is not even in my state.
True.
So that could be another reason.
Yeah.
I would say even with all those reasons to church hurt, wherever it is, you are missing out on, like, basically I would say a gift, because you may have a gift that God is giving you to be in person. And I ain't gonna say maybe just like be in person at church, but it could be like events of the church or small groups of that church or something like that. Like there might be someone that God wants you to be there for, but because you're online, like, you're missing out on that.
True.
Yeah, you're being fed and you're seeing the same people online. Well, I mean, if you're chatting with them, usually in the chat, you're just saying amen and hallelujah.
Yeah.
You're kind of missing out on those interactions, because you might hear something from somebody that's within the church that could help whatever situation you're in, but you would never have that if you never meet them.
Yeah, and I think I think there's still growth there, because I know a number of people who only go to online or only can go to online church, but they also provide community spaces for themselves. They do Bible studies on the side. They still do meetups. They still have community. They do all the things where it's just not, I'm going to online church and that's it.
Yeah.
Outside of it, they're still meeting and communing with people.
Which is,
and then, so is that the better?
I would say that's still
side of it, other than just,
because if they're still like, okay, I'm only doing online church on Sundays, but then like Wednesdays, I'm still having my men's Bible study in person, or because technically that's still church.
Yeah.
It don't have to be.
I mean, that was the old church. That's the Bible church.
Because it could be church. To where the only reason why you're doing that is because I work, or I'm or
true.
There's something to where,
and that's another thing to consider.
Yeah. There's something to where I can't physically be there because I have to be somewhere else.
Yeah. That's another thing. Somebody might work on Sunday. They might be a flight attendant.
Yeah. Or you work the day before. It's just like, I'm tired. I can't go.
Yeah. Something like that, where it prevents them from working on, they have to work on Sundays. I remember I used to, I like working on Sundays, but I remember working on Sundays. And so that was the only time to get, but I also had my friend group. We also had community. I still did serve. Like, I wasn't missing out on the other things to help me grow on there. And so I think the reason why I brought this up too is because one of my friends, she was like, this guy she was dating, and he was only going to online church. And she was like, well, I would want him. And that's what he said he preferred. But she said, I would want somebody to come with me to church.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to be that family when we get married and he's at home and I'm going to church.
Yeah.
You know, time. So it sounds like if they were together, if they were to get together, some compromise would have to be had.
Yeah. Even if it's like every other Sunday, I'll go or something like that. Because there's some people just like, I'm not budget.
Well, I mean, and we could talk from our own experience. We don't go to in-person church every Sunday.
No.
You know, and there's reasons for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we don't want to go. It's like you work on Saturdays.
That, and also kids end up getting sick
all the time. We don't have family time.
Yeah.
And usually Sundays are the best time where we're all together, where we don't have to work.
Yeah.
You know, before the week starts.
And also I'm not serving. So
true, right.
So that kind of
like that. Yeah.
That kind of like, okay, well, we're not in need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now if I was serving, I'd be going all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's just hands down.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm not,
it allows a little flexibility.
But I was serving in different areas.
Yeah.
Like I was leader of the small group.
No, true. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the thing to think about.
Yeah.
You know, when you're selecting someone.
Actually, technically, we still serve it now for the marriage.
Oh, true. So it's like we're still open to doing things outside of just going to church, because going to church is just going to church. It's what you do. You know, it's how you worship. It's your lifestyle as a Christian. Like what you should be doing is communing with other people. And so we're not just going to church. We're actually finding ways to still have community.
Yeah.
We talk about things spiritually. We don't just shut each other out. So that's a form of doing it. Like, it's different ways you can go about that.
Yeah. Me personally, my attachment to going to church is usually because of serving. Hearing the word is like basically getting another version of how I read. Like, yeah, I enjoy how the pastor like shines a light on the word on a different way to where I'm like, oh, I can write that down. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it in that light when I read again.
Yeah.
But like my main reason to continually go to church is the serving part. To kind of like help those who are in need more than me.
Yeah.
And like, what can I do to show God more for you?
Yeah.
Or is there some way I can help? Like, that's my reasoning to it. It's not even about what the pastor's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it does help.
Yeah.
But that's basically my biggest thing about going to church.
Yeah. And
I'm not saying everybody should be like that.
Right.
That's like, that's what it actually makes me feel good. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm serving, serving God. Let's go.
Yeah.
Especially it's a gift that I don't even know I had.
Yeah. So I think it depends on the couple. It depends on you, but I do think that I wouldn't say stop dating that person only because.
No, well,
you know what I'm saying? How are they spiritually growing? Are they showing fruit in conversation with them? Are they talking about Jesus? Like, there's different things to weigh out versus they only go to online church.
Now,
you know, so
if it's to the point to where that's the only way they see the Bible, like, you never see them. You never see them read. You never see them pray. But they'll do online church, and that's it.
Then
Yeah.
And that's what you got to test out. That's it.
My big cup.
So anyway, I was gonna get into the other topic. We're gonna have to save that for something else. I don't know when. So we were going to talk about like men in community and versus women in community, and we're just gonna talk about men in community. We'll find a way to insert that in another conversation. I don't have no idea what topic that'll be, but I know one of the reasons I want to talk about men in community is because as women, we talk about that a lot, about men in the church and why some men don't go to church, where they at. But then also, if you are in a relationship with a man that is finding it hard to connect with other men, you know, sometimes we might not do the right things And, you know, so it's just certain things I think that we should be talking about that would be good for conversation, but it's just too long for this episode. So
yeah, because the men are there.
They there.
Some of y'all just not looking at them. That's all.
They there. And there's some things that need to happen while they're there.
Sure.
So that's anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of When Marriage
and Purpose
Collide,
the podcast.
And listen, share this episode with somebody you know that is thinking about attending a different church, is married, attending different churches. Maybe they are dating and don't know how to come to a common agreement with the church. So share that with them. Run and tell that, homeboy.
And there's a lot of churches.
Yeah. So we love y'all, and we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Thank you for tuning into When Marriage and Purpose Collide, the podcast.
Click on the links in the description to learn a little more about us. Subscribe and send a review on your takeaways or any new insight you have gained in this episode. If you are a single Christian woman and you are seeking to date with intention and cultivate love in 2024, you'll also find resources and details on programs I have to offer in the description.
Don't worry, man. Resources coming soon.
See you back here for our next episode.